Robert, let's go this way. You can see that the cops, Texas police, have been here listening to everything because primarily the message was delivered to them about they are allowed to express their free speech here, no matter what it is, and they are calling for the president, Hartzell's resignation here as well. That's pretty much the message that's been here.
Yeah, it sure is, Robin. We are now just getting another one of those bands. This is the first one we've had in about an hour, and it is really strong. The wind is picking up, and here comes that heavy downpour right on cue.
For example, if you're not in a direct line of sight to this tower here behind me, you'll probably run into problems gaining access at all here near the village of Oakfield.
You actually had to pop up a light so that we can see you. It is that dark.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what, we got totality. I want to step away from the camera.
This is 135, so let's do this right now. Here we go. Okay, ready? All right. Here we go.
We have with us someone who really understands it inside and out, and that would be Jimmy Sinners. Glad to have you here.
Good evening.
Let me make sure I got your CV here.
Urban planners tell us more riders on these buses could mean less reckless driving on the streets. So we set out to talk to everyday riders about what they expect from the Milwaukee County Transit System.
When we launched Project Drive Safer, we knew there would be no easy answers. We also knew we had a lot to learn.
It was exactly 4 weeks ago that the president signed that bill into law to help combat inflation.
Just across the bridge from El Paso, there are hundreds, potentially thousands of migrants hoping to turn themselves into officers to start that asylum process. Mass migrant crossings along the southwest border, building pressure in Eagle Pass, Texas, and reaching a crisis level in El Paso.
We have come to what we look at a breaking point right now. We're preparing for the unknown.
In Juarez, Mexico, just across from El Paso, hundreds of migrants made their way to a gate along the border wall with toddlers in tow. Migrants have been going into town to get resources like ice and water as they wait along the wall in this brutal heat. Migrants waited several days along the wall in the El Paso sector, currently one of the busiest points for migrant crossings into the U.S. Over the last few days, the mayor of El Paso says they've received more than 2,000 additional migrants a day. So he says right now they're taking women with children and then people from the LGBTQIA community before they take single male adults. Many migrants desperate, taking a risk and crossing multiple times.
Es mi cuarto intento.
As frustrations with the CBP One app reach a breaking point, the mobile app put out by U.S. Customs and Border Protection aims to create a more effective and efficient process for asylum seekers. But many say landing an appointment has been impossible.
Tengo un mes esperando. Todos los días solicito la cita, pero nunca me ha llegado.
Dayerlin Cázares traveled from Venezuela with her family and her 5-year-old autistic son. She is prepared to cross the border again after 3 months in Mexico.
Es una pesadilla. En realidad uno sale de Venezuela creyendo que va a ser fácil, pero no. Se enfrenta con algo muy difícil.
Many carry few belongings and cling on to their faith. Do you think you're going to get through to the U.S.?
Con el favor de Dios, sí. Cachadito.
Migrants crawl through this hole in the razor wire to get to the wall. To bring relief as more migrants make their way north, Mexico and the United States reached a deal to deport migrants in northern Mexican cities bordering El Paso, Eagle Pass, and San Diego. They will also take additional action to deter migrant crossings. In Eagle Pass, the mayor declared a state of emergency as migrant crossings surged, and El Paso shelters are over capacity. To ease the squeeze, the city activated an emergency shelter. Many migrants now holding on to a sliver of compassion.
Todos somos humanos y pues tenemos derecho a la libertad.
As some flee political persecution and economic hardships in Venezuela in hopes of the American dream of a stable job, an education,
¿Qué quieres hacer en los Estados Unidos? What do you want to do in the U.S.?
Estudiar.
and resources.
No tengo cómo ayudarlos para las terapias.
And so they return to the wall, hoping for a different outcome that leads to a future in America.
We've learned by various estimates there are more than 50,000 married same-sex couples today in the Lone Star State.
What do we have?
Tomatoes.
Little cherry tomatoes. They haven't started turning yellow yet, though.
Gary Garcia and Chad Pritchett say they're just a normal couple.
Got married in 2008, so it's been a great journey.
In 2008, it became legal in California prior to it becoming legal federally, and that's why we got it done then.
Married for 16 years, they're also proud parents.
We're just a married couple who want to sell tacos and raise our son.
2 men, their suburban Fort Worth, Texas home, raising their 8-year-old son, Alex.
Everybody in the class every year usually loves him because of how much gifts he gives the whole class.
Rachel Treadwell and Lisa Howes, married for 4 years.
Cheers. Love you. Love you. Cheers.
And living in a small hill country Texas town.
It's been something that I've looked forward to my adult life, to be able to stand in front of my family and my friends and profess this love and have it have a legal stamp on it.
2 women married and living a life they've built together.
I've also run into the I guess, surprise to my straight couples when they see the ring on my finger and they're like, oh my gosh, what does your husband do? And I'm like, oh, actually, my wife works at a restaurant downtown Austin.
Howes, a photographer, has documented many weddings and many couples just like her.
She was just a very happy, happy bride.
Mark Ferris and his husband Vic Holmes sued the state of Texas for the right to wed.
When we heard the decision, we both just broke down bawling.
Their lawsuit, combined with others, helped shape the Supreme Court decision Obergefell v. Hodges, which legalized gay marriage across the country.
The main thing is that we loved each other and we wanted to be a couple and we wanted to be together, and there was no rational basis for the state to preclude that.
Constitutional law professor Dale Carpenter helped write briefs arguing for those rights.
It meant that they could enjoy the benefits of marriage, and because there was now a social structure and a legal structure built around trying to solidify and sustain their relationships.
In the 20 years after the first state issued same-sex marriage licenses, a Rand Corporation report finds same-sex households experience more stable relationships, higher earnings, higher rates of home ownership, and better preparation for retirement and end-of-life care. The report concludes marriage led to better physical and mental health for couples, finding perceived stigma declined. A 2023 Gallup poll found 71% of Americans supported same-sex marriage. Still, opposition remains. In Texas, the state Republican Party in 2022 put in its platform that marriage is only between a man and a woman, calling homosexuality an abnormal lifestyle choice.
My mother didn't come to our wedding.
A reaction putting rifts in families.
That was heartbreaking, but it was also not unexpected.
She was Rachel's best friend growing up, and as soon as Rachel came out, that relationship completely changed.
Both couples we interviewed hope their rights stay enshrined in law, but say it's a right generations will have to vigilantly protect.
I'm back to that, scared and shuffling and wondering if our state is obviously probably not going to be on the right side of history on this one.
We have to be engaged, and we have to continue to push the narrative on why we demand equal rights.